when we talk about an infectious illness, right, there's kind of two pieces to the equation. There's the virus or the germ, right? So we need exposure to a germ. Mm-hmm. But the other half is the susceptibility of the person. So what we call the terrain. Mm-hmm. So the germ needs to land in, right, enters the body. And is our body a hostile place for a germ, or is it a favorable place for a germ? Mm-hmm. So, right, we talked about psychological stressors playing an impact in our susceptibility, but then there's things like nutritional status, how's our vitamin D level, how's our vitamin A, different herbal medicines we know can activate certain parts of the system so that our cells, you know, work faster, signal better, and we have a more rapid immune response. Fever, right? Honoring and managing fever properly, that's the number one defense for any infection. Fever is our friend. Yet in our society, fever is often feared and suppressed as quickly as possible. And so we've just thrown out the best part of our immune system, if that's the case. So knowing how to do that, and, you know, so this is something, you know, I've thought about a lot, and I'm very passionate about teaching people, you know, how to do this properly. And so then now you've got the best terrain that's hostile to the virus. So, but I think this is lost in our, right? So right now, most of the measures, right, we're doing is minimizing exposure. So yes, that's key, that's necessary. Mm-hmm. But we're not talking about, well, what can we actively do to improve, you know, our resiliency? So those are some of the key things, and there's many, many more. I mean, there's, but we can, you know, we can do things. The research is there. We know that, you know, certain vitamins, minerals, plant medicines can help our immune system work, you know, to its highest capacity. So that's something I like to discuss with people, and certainly offer that.
That's very encouraging, because I find one of the worst things as a parent is to hear about this virus and then not have any action other than stay home, or, you know, don't allow your child to have a play date or whatever. When you know that there's actually something you can do, then you can take action to protect your children and yourself, which is awesome.
Well, that's right. So, I mean, it doesn't mean it guarantees, right? Nobody can guarantee that you won't, you know, you won't be infected, right? That's impossible. Yeah. And despite our best measures for anyone, right, people will still fall sick, even if you're doing everything, you know, optimally. But there's a difference, you know, in people who are severely ill and mildly ill, right? They've got the same germ. So the germ part of the equation is the same, but it's, what's the difference in the person who's in the intensive care unit and the person who doesn't feel anything or gets a mild sniffle, right? That's the terrain piece. So there's something about, right, those two individuals that's different enough. Their immune system is, you know, they're not equivalent. So the germ is the same, but the terrain is different. And so, you know, so my piece is trying to help people, you know, build that, you know, just build that immune response, you know, enhance that terrain. So, and yes, there's lots that can be actively done.
Awesome. Very happy to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're heading into the fall, and everybody's talking about it, and it gets very stressful. What's the best way for families to increase their stress resilience? And like, do you have any rituals or habits that you would suggest that help with stress resilience with their children?
Sure. So I mentioned, you know, just going for a family walk outside, right? So that's just, you know, that does many things, right? Just relaxing. We get out of the environment. Something I've done and think everyone should do is, you know, ditch social media. I call it humanity's dumpster fire, right? It's terrible.
Yeah.
Just feeding fear and frenzy and stress. Try cutting it out for a week. It's awesome. Like, I only use Facebook for organizing band practice, really. Like, and just more and more, I've pulled away completely, and it's great. And anytime I hazard a glance that way, you can just feel like, you can feel the stress. So I invite everyone to give it a try. and can almost guarantee you'll feel better. So that piece, obviously, prioritizing sleep, right, for the whole family, that's going to have impacts on the immune system, on stress response, on just, right, sleep helps everything. Stress ruins everything, sleep helps everything. So yeah, so just, just decreasing that fear, right? And then if we can, within our family bubbles or whatever, just much, social interaction, because we know, right, that's actually shown scientifically to be protective from an immune perspective. And of course, it's important for many other ways, right, to prevent depression, isolation. I think I see a lot of isolation or people who lack support, and really that just opens the pit, and just makes everything worse, right? If we can have support, whether it's childcare or just personal care, right? So I mean, a ritual for parents, if you like massage, go for massage. Acupuncture can be fantastic for stress relief, for sleep promotion. So make those pretty, and don't feel bad about looking after yourself and carving out a little time to do that self-care. And sometimes it's just reading a book, and sometimes it's just saying no, right? I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I mean, one thing I've heard, and you've probably heard, is, well, with this kind of forced time out that COVID's making us take, it's made a lot of people realize, I didn't really like that hectic pace of life I was on. I didn't really realize it. And now that you're sort of forced to, park the car for a bit, it's like, oh, I kind of like this, right? So that's not everybody's reaction, but a lot of people find it actually very restorative.
Yes.
It's the stop point. It's this realization to say, aha, so going forward, how can I maybe whittle away some of those obligations, right? That frenzied pace of life. And so I think, that's an opportunity, right? And that's healing.
Yeah, I've heard that from many people who realized they didn't know they were stressed until they stopped. And then it was like, wow, I was really stressed. And
so then, yep. So hold on to that and don't let it slip away, right? So whatever sort of happens, in the near future here, prioritize those boundaries so that you can preserve that space. And I think that's going to have a huge benefit for many, many people.
Yeah, including children who,
absolutely, yep.
Booked, they go to school all day and then they're booked at night and on the weekends, and it's like, just downtime.
Sure. So, right, it's that sort of over programming, right? So we've all been forced to stop, the activities and whatever. And so, maybe that's not a bad thing. And then, as choices open up again, it might be, worth it to be a little more selective and say, you know what, I don't want to be out every night hauling the kids around.
Yes.
Maybe they don't want to be either, right? It's tiring. It's tiring for everybody. And I mean, just that piece, is exhausting. And so, yeah, you know what? You don't have to be doing something every Saturday or Sunday or every night of the week.
Yes.
You'll be fine. Kids will be fine. It's like just chilling out, reading a book is all right.
Yeah. Yeah. So anybody who is watching this and wants to come in and see you, what's the best way to book an appointment?
So they can look online. So my website is kemptvillenaturopathic.com. So there you'll have access to online booking, or you can give me a call, 613-897-1000, and I'm happy to chat. And those are the two best ways.
Great. Well, I thank you for your time. I know you're a busy man, and I appreciate you giving us hope and some tips so that we can face this fall, just go in there confident in our abilities to stay healthy. Thank you so much.
That's right. Okay. Thank you for the opportunity, Anne.